So, I think two questions coming out of the Loki season finale yesterday, or the other day, that a lot of fans have, in my opinion, is one, is Kang a bigger threat than Thanos? And two, why did Kevin Feige choose Kang to be the next big bad in the MCU for the time being? And these are legitimate questions to ask. And to answer the first one, is he a bigger threat than Thanos, if you will, when it comes to the whole MCU? I would have to be in unanimous agreement with everybody that has said the same thing, and that is yes. Because Kang here basically said it himself. He said basically that, hey, you take me out, and there's going to be other versions of me coming after you, and some could be a lot worse than what I am. And from what I saw, he specifically pointed out at least one that could be, a lot more evil, if not the evilest, I should say, out of all the Kang variants that they will encounter. Which leads me to believe that Kang that he pretty much singled out as the one that was kind of like the bad apple, the bad seed that ruined the whole bunch. Back when he, or a variant of him, discovered the various multiverses above his own in the 31st century. I got a feeling that Kang we're going to encounter is going to possibly be the villain for the next Avengers film, if not a lot sooner. It could be a lot sooner, maybe Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania, but I think they're saving it for Avengers. If you will. But yeah, he said that, hey, you take me out, there's going to be multiple versions of me that are going to come after you. And like I said, he specifically, from what I saw, pinpointed to one that's probably the most evil of them all, if you know what I mean. And he gave him an option. He said, hey, look, I want to retire. I just want to retire, hang him up. And you know what? If you take option A and take over for me, run the timeline as it should be, not a problem. Nothing happens. But if you take option B and kill me, then yeah, you're going to have to deal with the consequences. And when Sylvie killed him, and he told her right before he died, see you soon. I think when you look at Sylvie's reaction, the moment he says that, and then she looks out the window to see the ramifications of her decision, I think it really starts to dawn on her character, like she just screwed up. Like she let her anger that had built up for years throughout various timelines that she would travel through, build up so much that it blinded her to the fact that, hey, if you do this, you are going to do exactly what he's telling you is going to happen. And it did. That ended up happening. And when Loki saw the statue of Kang in place of the statue of one of the timekeepers, the reaction he had basically said the whole story too. It's like he knew Sylvie had done what Kang had warned them that they should potentially not do, thus face the consequences. So with that said, the question now remains, does this make Kang a bigger threat than Thanos? And I think it does. I think it really does. Like I said, I think I said that earlier at the beginning. But yeah, I think it does. Because, Thanos, all he wanted to do was preserve his home planet, save his home planet, create a perfect balance by wiping out half the universe. And that's what he did. But that was reversed. That was reversed by Hulk. That was reversed by the Avengers going back through time to get the Infinity Stones necessary to make that happen. They were able to reverse the effects. But here we're talking multi versions of Kang, one after the other, potentially leading to the most evil of them all, potentially the one that caused the rift back when it happened originally between all the Kangs, when there was, as this Kang put it in the finale, there was peace. There was narcissistic peace, there was peace. So So yeah, when you really think about it, you put it all together, and you see how far this is going to stretch with this character, you know, most likely into another Avengers movie. Yeah, it does kind of make him a bigger threat, because it's not just, you know, half the universe being wiped out and thus could be restored, you know, like they were in the Avengers movie. No, this is basically multiple timelines that are being put in danger because of Sylvie's decision, you know, of not taking option A, or not just leaving things as is. So yeah, in a way, it does kind of make him a bigger threat than Thanos, when you think about it, especially with everything that is being considered, or being in consideration, if you will, for future story elements in the MCU, or the MCMU as I call it, now, because of what Sylvie did. But now this brings up another question. Why did Kevin Feige choose Kang to be the next big bad? And hold on for a sec while I do something.
Everything Hogan and Warrior did got a great reaction. It's a great showcase of the
I have to do that to, you know, keep my mom off my back. You know, she's home, summer break and all that. You kind of get the idea. But anyway, the question obviously is, the second question is, why did he choose Kang to be the next big bad, that being Kevin Feige? And I think when you go back to that Disney showcase that they did online last year, that Disney 23 like showcase they did last year, I think when you go back to that and you watch the end of the Marvel presentation, you know, and they show all the titles of the upcoming movies and shows that they're working on for the next couple of years, the last one they land on, or they show, is Fantastic Four. And if you're a comic enthusiast, you know that Kang is connected to the Fantastic Four because he is the son, or maybe in the MCU's case, distant relative of Sue and Reed Richards. So, you know, it would make sense that Fantastic Four would be the last movie we have before getting to the Avengers film that comes afterwards, that potentially resolves all of this, because Kevin Feige has gone on record and said, hey, this is not going to drag out as long as the whole Thanos thing. You know, because that drug out for like over 10 years or something like that, 20 movies and stuff. He said basically this isn't going to drag out that long. So you have to think that the furthest it's going to drag on is the Avengers movie that comes after Fantastic Four. Like, we're going to get all these other shows and movies that are going to connect with each other in some form or fashion, and basically, sorry about that, and basically sorry about that. But, you know, with that being the, you know, that being like the last film that they showed, potentially before getting us to the next Avengers, it would make sense. Because like I said, with all these shows that they were showcasing, potential, you know, that they'll be working on in the next, you know, couple of years and everything that they got in production, you know, it makes you, you know, and then like I said, landing, sorry for that distraction, I do apologize, but landing on that, on the Fantastic Four as the last movie, in a way it does kind of make sense. It does kind of make sense that you know, they would go this route, if you will, that they would, you know, potentially, you know, go this route of, you know, making Kang the big bad, because like I said, the movie that, you know, is the last one that they showcased that they're going to be working on, Fantastic Four, potentially could lead us into the Avengers movie that could resolve all this. Because as I was trying to say before that distraction there, basically Kevin Feige has gone on record and said, hey, from what people have said, it's gone on record and saying this is not going to get drawn out as long as Thanos was dragged out. The Thanos arc throughout the 10 years, multiple 20 plus movies and all that. This isn't going to be dragged out that much. This isn't going to be dragged out as long. So the thought process is that with all the movies coming out in theaters, all the Disney Plus shows that are connecting to them, that are coming in and out in the next few years, that this is all part of the Kang saga, and that it's going to culminate with the Avengers movie after that comes out, potentially after the Fantastic Four movie. That's what I was trying to say. So to me, this is why I believe he chose Kang as the next big bad. Not just the fact that Kang is connected with the whole multi-universe deal, which makes it a bigger deal, makes it a bigger threat than what Thanos did, if you will. But it also connects, in the end, towards, the Fantastic Four. It connects in the end, to them, and potentially will lead us into the Avengers movie, where this Kang storyline will end. So we shall see. We shall see what happens. But that, to me, is why I think Kevin Feige chose Kang as the next big bad. Because, like I said, you go back to the end of the Marvel presentation during the Disney Showcase, and it shows you right there. It shows you right there at the end, when they show all the titles, and the last title they show is Fantastic Four, the connections start to kind of come together. How they come together, and as we get closer to that, is up in the air. But that, to me, right there, that, to me, when you go back and look at that presentation, you see that Fantastic Four is the last one they showed. It's one of the movies they're working on. And now we got this whole Kang situation going. I don't think it's much of a coincidence as to why Kevin Feige chose Kang. Not just because of the bigger threat that's involved, but who's coming on in, towards the end before the next Avengers movie. It makes a lot of sense when you think about it. And whether he's presented as the son of Sue and Reed Richards, or he's presented as a distant relative, who knows? We'll have to see. I mean, for all we know, they could show in a post-credit or mid-credit scene, Sue giving birth to Kang as their son, and then you see maybe the eyes glow a little bit to kind of give you the indication that, yep, this is the one that's going to cause trouble, or this is going to be the one that starts the trouble, or whatever. So we'll see. We shall see. But yeah, I think that's why Kevin Feige chose Kang to be the next big bad, because of the connection he's going to potentially have with the Fantastic Four once they show up in the MCU. But we shall see. But as I say, and I know I'm repeating myself here, we shall see. I mean, I know some people may argue that, but again, when you go back to that showcase and they show Fantastic Four as the last title they're working on, yeah, I think you can start kind of connecting the dots and seeing that there's going to be a bit of connection, that with Kang showing up now, and Fantastic Four being like the latest movie they're going to be working on for the MCU. But let me know what your thoughts are. Comment down below. Love to hear from each and every one of you. Let me know what your thoughts are on the live chat. Like the video. Sorry for the interruption. That happens when you do things unscripted, and you of course you live with your parents and stuff. So what are you gonna do? But let me know what your thoughts are. Comment down below. Love to hear from each and every one of you. And I am out.